China announced that it approved 80 new game releases in late December, signaling the first wave of media authorized by the Online Games Ethics Committee. However, the list of approved titles does not seem to include any releases from Chinese tech giant Tencent. This report comes a few weeks after Chinese regulators began reviewing games submitted under license consideration in China, moving forward to the licensing freeze that had halted game approvals for the majority of 2018. As reported by Reuters, these approved titles, listed on the website of the State Administration of Press, Publication, Radio, Film and Television, did not include games from industrial leader Tencent. The freeze has negatively impacted the company, and despite mobile revenue on the rise, the company has lost more than $200 billion of its overall value. Tencent began testing facial recognition to verify player identities, and even restrict playtime in an attempt to appease the Online Games Ethics Committee, which was created to address concerns from Chinese officials who fear that video games are sparking addiction and impacting the productivity of the country's youth. Regulators have also prevented Tencent from monetizing popular games that were already on the market in China, including Fortnite and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. With the success of Storm's relaunch back in 2012, a number of game developers have been looking to take their own stand at the turn-based strategy formula, resulting in the surprising success of Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle in 2017, and in 2018, the release of Mutant Year Zero right before the holidays kicked off. Thanks in no part to a foul-mouth-talking duck, Mutant Year Zero has managed to find an audience and a strong niche in the strategy game space, showing how even a stripped-back version of can deal with the right tone and sense of polished. We have been enjoying the game over at Gamasutra, and were excited a few weeks back when game director Liv Ali, designer and studio founder David Scaring, and lead animator Kyle Grandstrom took the time to talk about their work over on the AD Twitch channel. There were a few key insights from the trio about Mutant Year Zero's design and game balance, so we took the time to collect a lightly edited transcription of their most salient points, read on for a look at how a bunch of Hitman veterans managed to make their own strategy game, Scaring, quite early on. From almost day one, we made the decision that we wanted to keep the stealth aspect as simple as we possibly could. The reason for that was we did not want the players spending any more time there than we needed to tell the story and let you explore the world. Because what we wanted to do was to do the stealth moments, or set up for combat, while you are in real time, so we could speed it up a little bit. But if we started adding too much functionality to that, it would just slow it down again, right? So we made a decision very early on that we wanted to keep the amount of game mechanics that you can utilize in the real time to the minimum, and keep it very very simple. So that's shown for instance in the attention circles that we use, rather than any vision cones, or anything like that. We did not want people trying to sneak on a counter too much, or spending time doing that. Scaring, yet, exactly that was the choice. It was either that or giving them. Whenever you get discovered, you get a little leeway time, as we would with them in Hitman for instance. The guy would come over and investigate, but like it was other problems right for balancing the game. So that it was quite early of a decision that we do not put anything extra that we did not need into the real time. And as you can see, the attention circles here now, as long as you stay out of them you have the advantage, right? And that communicates very very clearly the idea with the awareness zones that glow red as you approach, was that this should be a tense moment, but that you should not feel stress about it, so to speak. You should feel like you have the time to check out the guy coming in on a patrol here, and see what's behind him, etc. before setting up. If it were vision cone based, for instance, that vision cone might just bang come all of a sudden as he steps from behind a building, a car or something. Restaurant, we did not want to make it something too skill-based. Basically, when you sneak around, it should be more about making a tactical decision rather than being stressed and making quick decisions. Morally, it was always a design that we wanted the stealth to not be Twitch gameplay, because the game is not Twitch gameplay at all. The game is very much about planning and making good tactical decisions, so the stealth had to feel like it was fitting that quite well. So the stealth in this game is much more about you finding good positions and working out. Maybe there's someone who's isolated that I can pull down without anyone else seeing. The very start of the game that you are just seeing now is very much designed to be a general introduction to stealth. So extremely obvious patrols of guys with low health walking around on their own. It's not very taxing. It's not very challenging. And the characters, when they talk, they have hinting at least 2 or 3 times that we should investigate who's here, and we should sneak around first. So I would say that the first 20 minutes of the game is gently pushing the player into this kind of playstyle, rather than us hitting them with a hammer, if that makes sense. Scaring. In user research about a month ago, or something, it was one of the things we probably did not communicate enough. We have added some tutorial messages around this, because if you do not figure it out rather quickly, the levels can become quite hard later down the line. Because we really wanted you to scout out these positions, you do not always have to pick off everybody around the map, but at least figure out that they are there. When more advanced units stepped into the zone that can help other units and such, it's very important that you know about these units, or they will surprise you. Morally, it was also important that the stealth does not become boring in the game, because this pattern, in the start of the game, you repeat that too much it will start to get stale. So in the game's balancing, the enemies that get harder the further in the zone you get, and the enemy's health will slowly start to track ahead of your stealth weapons. So at some point in the game you are going to start having to use multiple characters with stealth weapons to kill an enemy, or make use of your mutations that allow you to do double damage, or crit damage, and stuff like that to be able to pull off a stealth kill. Scaring. So it's actually now you are out of combat, but will have a critical hit and a regular one, and that was the balance you were talking about. It's kind of in layers. That balance, it's quite nice. Where during the mid-game you have to start doing critical hits with your silent weapons in order to take the straggling characters out, are these outliers. So it becomes a little bit deeper to do it, which is quite nice. And towards the end, you will have to use basically all the tricks in the book if you want to take anybody out on the outskirts. Scaring. First of all, of course, we are also cheating behind the scenes, because people do not understand percentages very well. So a 75% shot here is a bit higher, right? We will also do a few tricks on the eye side, where if they hit you, they will actually have less chance next time, and such, so you do not get into these streaks of the enemy feeling super powerful, just because they got a lock in. You need to do a couple of these things, specifically around 50%, right? You should not be taking those shots reeling. You should not be taking 25% shots in on some game reeling, People expect 25% shots to be hit, so one way of doing that in of course, is to add a bit when you miss. So we have a few of those tricks going on behind the scenes. But I think it does not deter anything from the game. We added more along the lines of we felt it was needed. It's better that the game feels fair than that it is fair. Really, especially the hardest thing to do in these games is to make them feel fair. Scaring, yet, and Lee was also very early on with defining the percentages. We looked at Mario Rabbids, I think.